Prime Minister Davis confronts key issues with the United States, including the impact of U.S. policies on Bahamian healthcare. Tonight, Bahamian Ambassador Wendell Jones gives his take on the success of the meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State. And unfinished business. After months of silence, Killarney MP and former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis addresses his political future, making it clear he's not stepping away from politics just yet. Plus, as egg prices soar, the Golden Yoke program offering a promising solution. This as the Agriculture Minister promises local eggs will be on store shelves by year's end. Then in our news at 7:30, the meeting of regional leaders with U.S. Secretary of State, including Prime Minister Davis, comes back into focus. Healthcare, security, and Haiti's instability all key focuses, but the opposition calls for stronger defense of national interests. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kendino Knowles. The country's top diplomat in Washington says the Prime Minister held his own in high-level talks with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio this week. Ambassador Wendell Jones called the meeting a success as Prime Minister Philip Davis defended the country's position on some hot-button issues. At the top of that list, the use of Cuban healthcare workers. Earlier this year, Rubio announced visa sanctions for countries involved in Cuba's overseas medical missions, a move that raised eyebrows here at home. But Jones says the Prime Minister pushed back, pointing to the damage U.S. recruitment of Bahamian nurses has done to the local healthcare system and why the Bahamas has had to look elsewhere for help.
The Prime Minister was able to say that in the month of May, some 60 nurses leaving the Bahamas, Bahamians, because the United States has been complicit in getting Cuban nurses to leave the Bahamas, sometimes for 3 times more than they are paid in the Bahamas, and their families are given incentives to stay in the United States. And so that level of complicity, I believe, resonated around the table.
And the ambassador telling our news that ties with China also came up.
The Prime Minister made it very clear that the Bahamas needed to improve its infrastructure, especially in healthcare, and that the Americans were not forthcoming in terms of granting loans to the Bahamas. And he made it clear that the Bahamas pays its bills on a timely basis.
Member of Parliament for Killarney.
All right, we'll get to that in just a bit, but we'll have more from that meeting with the Prime Minister, as well as comments from opposition leader Michael Pintard, who says he hopes the Prime Minister didn't just listen during his high-level meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State, but also stood up for the Bahamas. That's all coming up in our news at 7:30. We go now to our Delvado Emmanuel, who you just saw a moment ago. After months of silent and swirling speculation, Killarney MP and former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis finally speaking out. He's not backing away from politics just yet, even after being sidelined by the party he once led. Delvado Emmanuel has the story.
Member of Parliament for Killarney, Dr. Hubert Minnis, breaking his silence on his political future, despite the Free National Movement announcing that he would not be returning on their campaign ticket. Dr. Hubert Minnis told the MPs this morning that he has no plans on giving up representing the Western Providence community. But outside of the House of Assembly this morning, Dr. Hubert Minnis was mum on whether he'd be returning as an independent.
Does this mean that you can run independent?
Everything. I've said everything I want to say.
Thus, the former Prime Minister avoiding questions from the media after his cliffhanger announcement on the floor of the House of Assembly this morning. Minnis announced he wasn't quitting politics and plans on seeking re-election as the Killarney MP. But what he hasn't said is if he plans on running as an independent. Here's what he did have to say. The former PM, who led the F&M until resigning as party leader following their crushing defeat at the polls in September 2021, quoted Pope Francis and his love of serving people.
It is all too easy to give lip service to our concern for the poor and those on the margins, even as we use the power of office to hoard and to fill our pockets with earthly riches while others go without.
Dr. Minnis went on to tout the work done under his administration between 2017 and 2021.
My government attempted to elevate the poor. We attempted to provide opportunity for all.
And here's what he had to say about the community he's represented for the last 2 decades.
My job in this place is to give voice to them for better governance for our nation as a whole. It is a pleasure to be their representative in this place, and I look forward to continuing this representation.
As for what the future will hold for Minnis, we will have to wait and see. Reporting for our news, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
All right, thanks for that, Delvado. A woman serving 30 years for helping set up the murder of a protected witness has lost her bid to leave, or to have the Privy Council, that is, review her sentence. Karen Moss was convicted of conspiracy to murder O'Neill Marshall, also known as Yardy, a key witness who agreed to testify against an alleged gang leader and was placed in the Witness Protection Program. Prosecutors say Marshall was killed between April 30th and May 1st, 2016. His bullet-riddled, partially burned body was found inside a car parked at the former City Market on Market Street. Moss admitted to picking up Marshall and parking the car on Yorkshire Street after gang members asked her to set him up. She then left him locked inside with child safety locks on and door handles removed while she went to a nearby home under the guise of using the phone. Prosecutors say gunmen opened fire on the car while Marshall was trapped inside. And now to some sad news, as the country's last surviving World War II veteran has died. The British Legion Bahamas branch confirming the passing of 100-year-old former acting corporal Doreen Carmel Jones Ricketts. According to the Legion, she died peacefully at her home in Kingston, Jamaica on Monday. Jones Ricketts, born in New Providence on September 19, 1924, was one of the Brave 11, a group of Bahamian women who answered the call to serve during the World War. She served in the British Auxiliary Territorial Service in Kingston and lived with her daughter Jennifer Ricketts Shamshuddin until her passing. All right, we've got a happy update to report tonight as the education director says all 12 students involved in Monday's bus crash are doing well. The image of a damaged school bus slammed into a utility pole on Farrington Road made the rounds on social media this week. Several Family Island students taken to hospital. Dominique McCartney-Russell says students from Fresh Creek Primary and Andros were in New Providence for a sporting event. While police haven't released an official report, she says the incident is another reminder of just how important road safety is.
We're putting more emphasis on it. Is we are partnering with the Ministry of Transport. We're going to provide greater training for our bus operators and drivers. And so that's one of the things that we've had several trainings in the past, and so we are going to continue to support safety by ensuring that those officers, those operators participate in ongoing training.
All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Happy Hump Day, Greg.
Yeah, happy Hump Day to you too. And it's been a very warm week, and we are continuing that trend tonight as temperatures still hovering near the 80-degree mark. 81 is our current temperature under mostly clear skies. The winds are out of the northeast at 9 miles per hour, and it feels like a very warm 82 degrees on the outside. Temperatures around the islands right now. It is 81 in Freeport, 79 over in Alistown, Bimini, Great Harbor Key, and over in Governor's Harbor. 80 degrees Nickel San Andros, Marsh Harbor, Abaco, 78 into the central Bahamas, 80 degrees in Kemps Bay. And we pick up 79s once again in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Black Point, the Exumas, also in Georgetown, Great Exuma. Deadman's Key, 78, Coburn Town, 78, Port Nelson, Rum Key, guys, is 77 into the southeast Bahamas. 79, Duncan Town, Ragged Island, pair of 78s, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, and in Delectable Bay, Auckland. 79 in Abrahams Bay, Providentialis, Tricks and Caicos Islands, Matthew Town, Nago, Deep South. Round out a temperature profile at 81 degrees. It is just a rinse and repeat across area. Ridge of high pressure and a very dry air mass in place. We do not see much in terms of any significant rainfall, but we are watching a system to the north that may clip the northern Bahamas by the weekend. That could bring us 1 or 2 showers, and then we do expect a front to get near sometime by early next week. That's also promising for some showers in the forecast. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us to look at your extended forecast is still coming.
Coming up in sports, Buddy wearing the wrong shorts at tip-off and still leading the Warriors to a road win is proof that it's never too late to start over and still ball out.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
Welcome to Journey TV.
We do marketing and we do branding.
Training, you do everything.
I found that I'm my strongest when I am living in the very best version of myself.
Everybody looks at you and sees success, but they don't see the struggle.
Say that again, Ramona.
Downgrade your lifestyle, upgrade your hustle.
If we believe God is perfect.
Come on, McDonough, let's go.
Yeah.
Are we catching this blooper? Welcome to today's episode of Journey TV. Welcome to Journey TV.
I'm glad the volleyball.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's Sean Marknut. Let's do show. There was a lot going on in Minnesota Tuesday night. Buddy was wearing the wrong shorts. Steph Curry got hurt. The Warriors were playing on 24 hours rest. Didn't matter. Playoff Buddy has arrived. Heels finished with a team-high 24 points in the Golden State Warriors' 99-88 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. He shot 7 for 19 from the field, including 5 of 8 from three-point range, while adding 8 rebounds in 40 minutes. It was the second consecutive game Hield has led the Warriors in scoring, following his 33-point outburst in Game 7 against the Houston Rockets.
The comeback trail for Steven Gardner experienced another roadblock. Gardner's debut at the Grand Slam track league didn't go quite as expected, and he'll have to wait a bit longer to regain his 400-meter crown. At the Miami stop on the league last weekend, Gardner finished 4th in the 200 meters in 20.37 seconds. In the 400 meters, Gardner pulled up near the 300-meter mark and was unable to finish.
A pair of Bahamian baseball players are headed to the Florida High School Athletic Association state tournament in their first year with a new program. Rayvon Pinder, Jamar Miller, and the Brito Panthers out of Miami, Florida are continuing their storybook postseason run in the FHSAA state quarterfinals. The Panthers defeated Miami Christian 14-12 Tuesday afternoon to sweep the regional final 2-0. After a 14-13 regular season, the Panthers began their postseason run with the district title. Both Pinder and Miller are products of the International Elite Sports Academy and has joined a Brito program that has produced over 20 major leaguers. That'll do it for sports. Stay tuned to our news at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as the Sistine Chapel's chimney puffed black smoke today, signaling no new pope after the first secret vote. Catholic cardinals set to try again tomorrow. Plus, the simmering trade tension continues between the United States and Canada as leaders of both countries finally meet. The Canadian PM says talks were constructive, but tariffs remain unresolved. And in an exclusive BBC interview, former U.S. President Joe Biden defends his decision to step out of the 2024 race while warning of the dangers of Trump's return to the White House. The story when our news returns.
Welcome to Journey TV.
I'm glad the Wally boys have split, because you know what? There ain't being any more competition.
The words on the Spelling Bee show in the lot. Phosphorescent.
Hey, it's the Charlie Bahama Show. Welcome, I'm your boy Charlie Bahama.
New season of Groovin' is here. New season of Groovin' is here. It will have your emotions moving, grooving, and even sometimes scared. Get in the groove with 242 Groovin'.
The words on the spelling bee show in the lad. Phosphorescent. Bougainvillea. Woo!
Never.
Where was the T earlier? You trust me?
No.
Good. No, I'm saying find over here. Coca-Cola. Okay, well, some of them.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square Wednesday with eyes glued to the skinny chimney atop the Sistine Chapel, but black smoke was the only sign. That means no pope just yet, as cardinals failed to elect a new leader on the first ballot. It's the most diverse group of voters in church history, with 133 cardinals from 70 countries, many of them appointed by the late Pope Francis. They'll try again Thursday, voting in total secrecy until someone earns the 2/3 majority. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says no decisions were made on tariffs during his sit-down with U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington on Tuesday. Carney called the talks wide-ranging and constructive, but admitted it's a complex negotiation. Trade tensions between the two countries have been simmering, with both sides under pressure at home.
Look, it was a very constructive meeting. I feel better about the relations in the sense of, in many respects, one, the posture, if I can put it that way, or the positioning the president took towards us. Secondly, the breadth of discussion and how concrete the discussions were. These are the discussions you have when you're looking to find solutions, as opposed to laying down terms, if you will. So feel better about that.
And former U.S. President Joe Biden speaking out, warning that President Donald Trump's foreign policy could shake global security. In his first major interview with the BBC since leaving office this week, Biden slammed Trump's reported push for Ukraine to give up land to Russia, calling it modern-day appeasement. He also defended his decision to drop out of the 2024 U.S. presidential race, saying it was tough but necessary. Biden says the U.S. must lead the world and not turn inward. He told the BBC the threat of a fractured NATO is real under Trump's watch. As for Trump's first 100 days back in office, Biden says he'll let history decide. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was May 7th. Then in our news at 7:30, the fight isn't over yet. From New Providence to Abaco, volunteer firefighters pushing hard to contain them. But is 95% containment on Abaco enough to keep residents safe? The Environment Minister is on the record tonight. But first, with growing concerns over Cuban labor and ties with China, the opposition leader says he hopes the PM made our nation's priorities clear in his meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State. His comments from outside the House of Assembly when our news returns.
Sleepy Lex has taken over the charts, but we got newcomers like Devondre and NF Trey climbing up to reach that #1 spot, while Travis Clark and Chase Fernandez is applying big pressure. Who will be #1 on upcoming shows of Rev Up? Buckle your seatbelt and find out. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Are you ready?
Hey, watch the Charlie Bahamas show right here in Eleuthera, where we're gonna see that Minutes family, the art. We're also gonna go to the other side, the farm, and we're gonna see a cute hotcake dog show.
That was the hummus. They make it right here. I'm sorry, I should have showed you before we ate it.
Check out the Charlie Bahamas show this week from Eleuthera on Channel 212, Cable Bahamas.
The wait is over. We're back with a new season of 242 The Gospel. Great artists, new videos exploding on the countdown. Will Najia be able to continue to turn the pages at #1, or will someone else rewrite her story? Let's see on this season of 242 The Gospel.
Bulk up your business and communication with parents, students, and staff in seconds with
On this day in Bahamian history in 1952, the Bahamas Olympic Association came into being, led by George Roberts as its inaugural president. It is now known as the Bahamas Olympic Committee. Then in 1954, there was a pretty tragic incident as a United States Naval P-23 Squadron Neptune aircraft MA-5 crashed right after taking off from Windsor Field on New Providence. The incident happened during some training exercises with the Atlantic Fleet. All 10 crew members on board sadly lost their lives when it plunged into the sea. Fast forward to May 7, 2012, when Progressive Liberal Party leader Perry Christie secured his second term as Prime Minister. Hubert Ingram, who had been leading the Free National Movement, announced his resignation following his party's defeat earlier that day. And finally, on May 7, 2015, something a bit more festive happened. The first ever Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival kicked off in Nassau. The inaugural event ran until May 9th and continues to this day as a rebranded Bahamas Carnival.
I expect we're going to have, whereas we'd estimated 15, maybe 20,000, the minister and others have estimated that we're going to now have probably 50, 60,000, maybe even 100,000 over the next 3 days here and across the street to experience this 3-day event. Yeah. So if that happens, we've got 25,000 tourists sitting out in the harbor that are just waiting to come out. The minister told me on the way here, they want to know where do they get tickets and t-shirts. So if we can get all them off the ship like we did in Freeport and empty the hotels, we've probably got another 4,000 or 5,000 people waiting for something to do. The GDP impact, in my vision, could be easily $50 to $60 million.
All right, with egg prices climbing and stores turning to cheaper imports, the spotlight is back on government's $15 million Golden Yolk program with a push to produce more eggs locally and cut down on imports. Agriculture Minister Clay Sweeting told Parliament Wednesday the program, which launched in February 2023, is moving ahead with several buildings already under construction. He says the goal to get locally produced eggs on store shelves by the end of the year.
All buildings from A to E is under construction. Actually, this morning, Mr. Deputy, if you go out to Gladstone Road, they are pouring the foundation right now at a Gladstone Road. So I will ensure that I carry you to see that project. And we anticipate that once the infrastructural aspect is completed, the Ministry of Agriculture will take carriage, and you will see eggs in the third quarter of this year branded by the Golden Yolk.
A popular playwright getting ready to debut his new project that highlights the scandal, romance, and deception of two young men who struggle to make it out of the inner city. In our final story in this half hour, Danielle Miller speaks with the creators who say the plot will keep audiences on the edge of their seats.
Dasquay's character, his name is Leo. Juan Pratt's name is Raji. His character's name is Raji. So they are the half brothers in the story. So those two are trying to navigate through these difficult situations.
This is the general concept of Bright Light Productions' highly anticipated stage play, Heart of the Ghetto. The cinematic stage play is scheduled to premiere at the Atlantis Resort on May 30th and 31st. Founder of Bright Light Productions and director of the play, Jonico Pratt, tells us this play is a reflection of his personal encounters. He gives us the exclusive details on the riveting plot.
These two, they just trying to find the best ways to make it in terms of which job should I pursue, how should I pursue entrepreneurship, and it also has a lot of romance, like backstabbing, girls from the ghetto trying to change their lives but end up messing with these two young men who are on the right path, and these girls sort of pulling them the wrong way.
With a star-studded cast, the play features the extraordinary talents of Shad Fur, Rodrika Colley, Bahamian Trey, and members of the R News team. Also gracing the stage will be one of the country's leading comedians, Das Quay. Yet, Janico says the biggest inspiration of the show is his mom, Antoinette Pratt, who passed away in 2017. He expressed to me that because of her legacy, the show goes on.
Everything I do is definitely in honor of her. Like even standing in the shop, I took this over when she passed away, and the shop it donates to every project I do. It sponsors every project I do, and once I'm able to see that logo, I know that she's a part of the show.
Tickets can be purchased by contacting 433-1509. Reporting for our news, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, thanks so much for that, Denny. What a story. And certainly we wish the production team on that production all the best. If you want to see the story again, though, and for all of today's top stories, remember you can visit ournews.vs. Going to do it for us in News at 7, though. Joining us now, Atalia Hall. She's up with the latest headlines. Atalia?
Thanks so much, Candino. Well, it's Mother's Day this Sunday, and we'll tell you why the special day is more than just an occasion. Plus, the Freeport Business Expo hailed a spark for Grand Bahama's revival. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on our News Live at 7:30, Prime Minister Philip Davis sits down with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. We've got the latest from Washington. Also, opposition leader Michael Pintard says the Prime Minister must not only listen, but stand firm on behalf of Bahamians. And with fires burning across several islands, the Environment Minister says his team is keeping a close watch on the escalating threat. And later, this Sunday is all about mothers, but for many, Mother's Day goes far beyond the tradition and gifts. The story when our News Live at 7:30 returns.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the R News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that running nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Setamol can deal with that fast, yeah. Try Setamol, cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try Setamol, cold and flu, and get back to the better you. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
Get ready to shop till you drop. The Vitamalt shopping spree is back, and you could be the next winner of a $500 shopping spree. Here's how to enter. Buy a 6-pack of ginger, acai, or coconut and hibiscus Vitamalt from any Super Value or 700 Wines and Spirits location. Snap a picture of your receipt and WhatsApp your name and photo of the receipt to 825-2191. This promotion ends Saturday, April 19th. Will you be the next lucky shopper? Vitamalt. Vitalize naturally.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines.
Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Atalia Hall. Regional leaders met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio this week, where several regional issues were discussed. Topping the list were healthcare, regional security, China relations, and the ongoing instability in Haiti. Prime Minister Philip Davis was among the leaders at the high-level talks. While there wasn't any much tangible takeaway, officials are calling it a success. Our Berthany McDermott reports.
At his meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Prime Minister Philip Davis telling us he raised a number of pressing issues. One of them is the issue of Cuban healthcare labor. It comes months after Rubio issued visa sanctions for any government engaged in forced labor programs with Cuban healthcare workers, especially as Bahamian nurses are constantly recruited to the United States, leaving the healthcare system strained.
The question was put, is it that we are not to engage in Cuban workers? And the answer was clearly no.
all we are asking is to ensure that those who we engage are not subject to forced labor. And they call upon us to ensure of that, and we call upon them to share any intelligence that they may have so that we can address it on that issue with us.
Rubio warned Caribbean leaders to make responsible, transparent decisions when selecting vendors and contractors for critical infrastructure projects, ensuring they are not vulnerable to privacy and security risks. The Prime Minister says regional leaders quickly sought to quell the concern.
Each of the leaders there assured the United States we will be vigilant in anything that crosses the diplomatic line.
Leaders also discussed security concerns, and according to Davis, they agreed there is a need for enhanced regional cooperation to combat drugs and firearms trafficking. As the Bahamas invest in technology training and strengthening our laws, the process requires cooperation with the U.S.
To their credit, U.S. officials acknowledge this reality and made a clear commitment to strengthen intelligence sharing, expand security cooperation, and provide support for border management through programs like the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative and Operation Bahamas Turks and Caicos.
Then there was the ongoing political and economic instability in Haiti. As the island nation remains in turmoil, Davis acknowledged recent U.S. sanctions against key Haitian gangs, but he stressed it's not enough.
Haiti needs solutions that address security, governance, and long-term economic development.
Reporting for our news, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks so much, Berthany. Well, opposition leader Michael Pintard says he hopes the Prime Minister used his meeting with the United States Secretary of State to not only listen but defend the country's interests. He spoke with our Joshua Williams outside of the House of Assembly this morning.
Prime Minister Philip Davis is back in the capital following his meeting with United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday in Washington, D.C. The Prime Minister using the opportunity to defend the Bahamas on several national issues, among them our nation's relationship with China. Rubio urging Caribbean leaders to, quote, make responsible, transparent decisions when selecting vendors and contractors for critical infrastructure projects and ensure they are not vulnerable to privacy and security risk and exploitation by the Chinese Communist Party, end quote. Pintard says the Prime Minister should balance sound advice while putting Bahamians first.
The Bahamas has to primarily act in its own interests. And therefore, I certainly believe that we look for opportunities where they can be of benefit to the Bahamian people. We should also take into consideration who our primary allies are and seek to have engagement with them to hear whatever their concerns are. But ultimately, we have to act within the interests of the Bahamian people.
Then there's the recruitment of Cuban healthcare workers. Earlier this year, Rubio announced possible visa sanctions against foreign governments that are part of Cuba's overseas medical missions. Recently, documents leaked by a U.S.-based human rights group alleged that Cuban medical professionals in the Bahamas receive a small fraction of their contracted wages.
It is important for the government to take another look at the program that they're running and to ensure that it complies with international best practices when you have persons coming from a country that requires that a portion of their remuneration goes to their government. It has to be re-examined.
Earlier this week, Pintard telling the Nassau Guardian he believes the Prime Minister can call an early election as quick as September. He says with this in mind, he and his Free National Movement Party are ready.
We are making ready to put forward a robust group of candidates that the public will have confidence in, and we are going to roll out our platform that address the issues that affect the Bahamian people: education, cost of living, the high level of crime, and the challenges in healthcare.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks so much for that, Josh. Well, with massive blaze grabbing headlines for weeks, Environmental and Natural Resources Minister Von Miller says his ministry is keeping a close eye on the uptick. Fires have threatened communities here in New Providence, as well as the Berry Islands, South Eleuthera and Abaco, where volunteer fighters did all they could to contain the blaze. The Environment Minister says the last update on the Abaco fire indicates that the blaze is 95% contained. But what is the next step?
In speaking to the police officers and fire department responsible who've been tackling this issue for quite some time, they say that this is the season for fires. However, for myself, it seems to be a more active season to me. And so that's always, fire is always a concern. And so with regards to prevention, we hope to get to the media and to get the messages out so that persons can take preventative measures to do their best to see that this does not occur.
We spoke to an environmentalist this week who says while dry conditions are a part of the problem, illegal dumping is creating the perfect conditions for fires to spark, especially in areas with no regulation or surveillance. Here's what the Environment Minister had to say about that assessment.
Indiscriminate dumping, in my constituency, the biggest constituency in the Providence, that's always been an issue. We're thankful to report that because we've set up some new transfer stations throughout the island, a couple of them in my constituency, that has helped with the indiscriminate dumping. But indiscriminate dumping, as it can relate to, and in some instances contribute to fires, again, the issue of concern, always a concern.
Prosecutors have dropped an attempted murder case against a woman accused of trying to kill her boyfriend. The case against Brittany Nelson came to an end after prosecutors presented a noli prosequi. A noli prosequi is the dismissal of or termination of legal proceedings by the Attorney General. She was accused of stabbing Lickerson Don Fred during a fight on August 16, 2022. Well, switching gears, Mother's Day is this Sunday, a time set aside to honor the women who raised and shaped us. But for many across the globe, the special day is more than an occasion. It's personal. It's the one day set aside to honor the women who do it all. Mother's Day began in the United States in the early 1900s. It was Anna Jarvis who held a memorial for her late mother and pushed for a national holiday. By 1914, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson officially declared the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. Since then, Bahamian families have embraced the occasion. Churches often lead the charge with special Sunday services dedicated to mothers. Restaurants and resorts also see lots of reservations as families treat the women in their lives to a well-deserved meal. And for students, in true Bahamian fashion, often show their love through handmade cards and performances. For many, it's not just about biological mothers. It's about their aunties, grandmothers, godmothers, and some women in the community who are celebrated for their guidance and care. The day also brings bittersweet emotions for those remembering mothers who've passed on or those navigating motherhood during difficult circumstances. Still, the meaning of the day remains the same: gratitude, honor, love, and a chance to say thank you. All right, so nice weather as we hit the midweek work mark. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is live in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, Mother's Day, it's almost here. I hope you went.
It looks good. We have a front coming in just after that, but it looks good. So, wonderful. Yeah, you should have a very nice Mother's Day coming up this weekend. All right. But it's going to be hot just before that front gets in here, so make sure you prepare for that. 80 degrees outside our studios right now, mostly clear skies. Northeast winds at 10 miles per hour, you feel like temperature hanging out in the low 80s. Satellite radar composite, quiet across the area, ridge of high pressure in charge at the surface and the loft. That's dominating our weather, suppressing much in terms of any clouds or precipitation. But we do have a system just to the west of us across the Florida Gulf Coast, and that's going to continue to progress towards the east. That should clip the extreme northern isles. So we may see 1 or 2 showers before the weekend, but I think most of the activity will stay well north. And of course, as I mentioned, a front is expected by early next week. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news. It's been nearly a week, but the energy from the Freeport Business Expo is still going strong. But what does it mean for Grand Bahama's future? Plus, will Amazon show customers the cost of tariffs at checkout? An RF Bank and Trust executive explains what it could mean for the global market. And later, from Orlando to Dubai, a St. Anne's student makes the Bahamas proud on the world stage. And that's all coming up when our news returns.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. Inti is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on the island of Grand Bahama as Inti Corporation shines brighter than ever. Inti Corporation, powering your world, powering your future.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
Welcome to Journey TV.
We do marketing and we do branding.
Training, you do everything.
I found that I'm my strongest when I am living in the very best version of myself.
Nearly a week after the Freeport Business Expo, the excitement hasn't worn off. Executives at the Grand Bahama Port Authority says the event hit a mark.
We are really hoping to come back.
Linking local entrepreneurs with global providers and planting something deeper. In tonight's edition of City in Focus, our news anchor Kendino Knowles shares the port's hope for the island's economic future. Let's take a look.
We are really hoping to come back next year.
Chad DeBoer represents Cape Park Recreation, one of a dozen international exhibitors at this year's Freeport Business Expo. His team brought paddle boats, ping pong tables, and outdoor seating, tools he says to get families back outside and off their devices.
There are lots of people out there that are looking to get experiences that aren't digitally related. They want to get kids and parents and people out there doing things outside of their phone.
And after connecting with local business owners,
we love to partner. We consider ourselves partners with our customers, and they're willing to tell their story. And so we've visited a couple sites already.
And that sense of connection is exactly what organizers hoped to create.
Giving Bahamians an opportunity to be able to see, feel, touch, and experience, it's an invaluable experience.
Grand Bahama Port Authority's Manager of Special Projects and Quality Assurance, Glendea Sweeting, says the momentum is real and growing.
We've heard the international exhibitors today saying, we're talking to Bahamians, this seems so real, we really think that we can work with them.
But beyond deals and displays, she says what's growing most is belief in Grand Bahama's potential.
So everyone is very hopeful. And I think that is what's going to ensure that as long as these entrepreneurs want to keep their feet to the ground and they want to hit the ground running, moving forward after this expo, they're going to be successful.
That hope, says GBPA co-chair Sarah St. George, is what the island has long deserved.
You know, we're versatile and we've been through such hard times, and that restoration and that recovery was absolutely vital. But as you come through that, I think everyone now deserves to see this whole new thrust of Grand Bahama and feel it, and it's long overdue.
And for her, the expo was more than just a business event. She calls it a much-needed turning point.
I'm so incredibly proud of the team. You can't imagine. It's just so heartwarming to see the recovery of the island and to feel it.
Reporting for our news, I'm Kendino Knowles.
All right, such good news. Thanks so much for that, Kendino. Well, there's a growing buzz in the investment world. This as Amazon reportedly considered displaying tariff costs directly on its platform, a move that could signal a major shift in how consumers see and experience international shopping. The idea is still under discussion, would make the impact of the U.S. trade policies much more visible to consumers. International media reports say President Donald Trump spoke to the owner of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, about the possible move. If implemented, this strategy could give shoppers a clearer picture of how tariffs affect product prices. In our monthly sit-down interview with RF Bank and Trust Vice President and Group Head of Investment David Slatter, he weighed in on the situation.
A significant portion of a tariff gets passed on to the consumer. It's not 100%, right? Because the exporter could opt to lower their prices. The importer and the business could opt to cut their margins, but a portion of it will be passed on to the consumer. If Amazon actually put the tariff portion on the price, people would see, oh, I mean, I'm paying the tariff? And I don't think the administration wants the American consumer to realize that they're paying most of the tariff. It's really a sales tax on the American consumer. And to have a sales tax to generate tax revenue to fund a tax cut for corporations and wealthier Americans would not go over well with the majority of Americans, even though that's really what it is.
When our news comes back from the break, from Orlando to Dubai, a St. Anne's student makes the Bahamas proud on the world stage.
Coming up in sports, Buddy stays hot in a Game 1 win, more injury concerns for Stephen Gardner, and a pair of Bahamian baseball players are headed to the Florida State Tournament.
Welcome to Journey TV.
We do marketing and we do branding.
Training, you do everything.
I found that I'm my strongest when I am living in the very best version of myself.
Everybody looks at you and sees success, but they don't see the struggle.
Say that again, Ramona.
Downgrade your lifestyle, upgrade your hustle.
If we believe God is perfect.
Come on, McDonough, let's go.
Yeah.
Are we catching this bluebird?
Welcome to today's episode of Journey TV.
Welcome to Journey TV.
I'm glad the Wally boys have split, because you know what? They know we ain't got no more competition.
The words on the Spelling Bee show in the lad.
Phosphorescent.
Hey, it's the Charlie Bahama Show. Welcome, I'm your boy, Charlie Bahama.
New season of Groovin' is here. New season of Groovin' is here. It will have your emotions moving, grooving, and even sometimes scared. Get in the groove with 242 Groovin'.
The words on the Spelling Bee show in the lad.
Phosphorescent.
Bougainvillea.
Never.
Where was the T at the end? You trust me?
No.
Good. No, I'm saying five every year.
Come on.
Okay, well, some of them.
Sleepy Lex has taken over the charts, but we got newcomers like Devondre and NF Trey climbing up to reach that #1 spot, while Travis Clark and Chase Fernandez is applying big pressure. Who will be #1 on upcoming shows of Rev Up? Buckle your seatbelt and find out. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Are you ready?
Hey, watch the Charlie Bahama Show right here in Eleuthera, where we're gonna see that Minutes family, the art. We're also gonna go to the other side, the farm, and we're gonna see a cute hot cake dog show.
That was the hummus. They make it right here. I'm sorry, I should have showed you before we ate it.
Check out the Charlie Bahama Show this week from Eleuthera on Channel 212, Cable Bahamas.
The wait is over. We're back with a new...
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Martinutt. Let's do show. There was a lot going on in Minnesota Tuesday night. Buddy was wearing the wrong shorts. Steph Curry got hurt. The Warriors were playing on 24 hours rest. Didn't matter. Playoff Buddy has arrived. Heels finished with a team-high 24 points in the Golden State Warriors' 99-88 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. He shot 7 for 19 from the field, including 5 of 8 from three-point range, while adding 8 rebounds in 40 minutes. It was the second consecutive game Hield has led the Warriors in scoring, following his 33-point outburst in Game 7 against the Houston Rockets.
The mindset was boxing out Rudy Gobert. He got a fair share of them, but just boxed him out. We know what he did in the Lakers series and how effective he was, and we had guys was doing their work early to prevent that, and just gotta keep on continuing the boards. If he can continue the boards and get out and play our basketball and put the ball in Jimmy's hands like we all been talking about, and just trust him to make the right play, I think we'll be in good shape.
He became the first player in NBA history to make 14 threes over a 2-game span in the playoffs.
It's based on what our options are, and two-way basketball. Can we get enough scoring at one end and enough defense at the other to make the game make sense? And Buddy makes the most sense. The way he's playing defensively, the way he's shooting the ball, it was a no-brainer to start Buddy.
The comeback trail for Steven Gardner experienced another roadblock.
Gardner's debut at the Grand Slam track league didn't go quite as expected, and he'll have to wait a bit longer to regain his 400-meter crown. At the Miami stop on the league last weekend, Gardner finished 4th in the 200 meters in 20.37 seconds.
My season opener was 20.4. I did 20.3 today, so it's getting much better.
In the 400 meters, Gardner pulled up near the 300-meter mark and was unable to finish.
A pair of Bahamian baseball players are headed to the Florida High School Athletic Association state tournament in their first year with a new program. Rayvon Pinder, Jamar Miller, and the Brito Panthers out of Miami, Florida are continuing their storybook postseason run in the FHSAA state quarterfinals. The Panthers defeated Miami Christian 14-12 Tuesday afternoon to sweep the regional final 2-0. After a 14-13 regular season, the Panthers began their postseason run with the district title. Both Pinder and Miller are products of the International Elite Sports Academy and has joined a Brito program that has produced over 20 major leaguers. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Okay, so when do we officially shift the nickname to Playoff Buddy?
Buddy's been a made player all this time, and we're just realizing it.
These are the takes you can't get anywhere else. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on our news tonight, a St. Anne's student wowed judges around the globe and brought home the title. We have that story coming up. And Greg is back with the extended forecast when our news continues. Stay with us.
The wait is over. We're back with a new season of 242 The Gospel. Great artists, new videos exploding on the countdown. Will Najia be able to continue to turn the pages at number 1? Or will someone else rewrite her story? Let's see on this season of 242 The Gospel.
Business and communication with parents, students, and staff in seconds with a live business bulk SMS messaging. This is the perfect tool to keep you connected and easily send important updates, event reminders, and emergency alerts. Keep your campus informed and connected with bulk SMS messaging from a live business. The right choice for fast, reliable communication. For more information, contact the experts. Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the R News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that runny nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them all to deal with that fast, yeah. Try set them all cold and flu.
This is our news. Welcome back. We remain stuck in this weather pattern, high pressure, dry air mass, and very little in terms of any rainfall. Of course, you know, we've been experiencing a lot of fires. So we're asking for the man upstairs to send us some rainfall. Looks as though we're going to get some of that by early next week. But in the meantime, we're going to continue this dry pattern, light winds, and of course those temperatures are going to be near the normals, mid 80s during the daytime, low 70s at night, but we expect a little bit of a relief come the weekend and into early next week as the systems across the southeast United States track towards the east and just to the north of us. Frontal boundary expected to be getting in here sometime early next week. Future forecast showing what's going to be happening over the balance of this week. As I mentioned, some moisture moving just to the north of the Bahamas, and here comes another batch of moisture for Thursday. And then by Friday, we expect moisture again to be in here for the weekend, but it looks as though Mother's Day is going to be very nice, but it's going to be warm. Boating forecast, northwest Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the east to southeast, 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times overnight, seas 2 to 4 feet. Low tide is at 11:46 tonight, your high tide at 5:43 in the morning. Central and southeastern islands and east-northeast to easterly flow at 10 to 15 knots, seas running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, it's going to be beautiful for the remainder of the week and into the weekend. Temperatures will be on the warm side. As I mentioned, we're looking at those normal temperatures around this time of the year. Mid 80s during the daytime, low 70s at night. And of course, Sunday being Mother's Day, it's going to be nice to take your mothers out and show them some reward for that day. 84 degrees expected on Sunday. And as I mentioned, a frontal boundary is expected getting here by early next week. So we stick some moisture in the forecast for Monday. That will take us into the middle part of next week, but those temperatures will start to climb into the mid to upper 80s, and it's going to seem like summer-like temperatures. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Greg, just before you go, I know you mentioned some moisture. Could we expect that on Grand Bahama, the capital, Berry Islands, the fires? People want to know if we can expect some rain and lots of rain soon and very soon.
Yeah, we do expect some rainfall, but for the next couple of days, no, we don't see much in terms of any rainfall. This front that is expected getting here sometime on Monday could bring them some relief, but it will be short-lived. And of course, as in the earlier story you mentioned, this is our fire season. Yeah. So we're asking you to exercise extreme caution out there in terms of fire. So yeah, a little bit of rainfall for Grand Bahama. They could get some relief.
Okay, a little bit of positive news.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Craig. Well, preteen beauty queen Amina Lockhart adding another crown to her growing collection. She's been crowned Miss Universe 2025. We first met the St. Anne's student last July when she visited the Our News studios days before heading to an international competition in Orlando, Florida. 9 months later, she's now the reigning queen at the Little Miss Universe pageant that was held in Dubai earlier this month. In addition to securing the crown in Dubai, she earned 2 major individual distinctions: the Cosmo Award that recognizes confidence and style, as well as the Face of the Year 2025 for standout beauty and stage presence. All right, congrats to Ms. Lockhart. And if you want to see that story again, it's available now at ournews.bs, or you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Our News Bahamas. And with that, we thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening. Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already